Hi, I'm Zhang, a project scientist in the Utilization and Life Sciences Office at NASA Kennedy Space Center. This Decadal pitch is about the alternative flight platforms and ground microgravity simulators for deep space exploration. The pathway from the ISS, the Moon, to Mars and deep space exploration provides a continuum of space environments for research to understand life in space. It includes altered gravity to microgravity, space radiation with different quality and quantity depending on the locations and solar activities, differences in magnetic field, and other factors such as the near vacuum condition, temperature, extremes, confined space, dusts, and etc. For space flight platforms, we have ISS. By use centrifugation systems on the ISS, lunar, Mars, and 1G conditions can be simulated for biological research. Outside the ISS, biological samples can be exposed to hostile space environment, such as using the MISI platform. Free flyers, such as CubeSat payloads released from the ISS or other LEO vehicles, are also available for researchers. Some satellites may go beyond LEO to a much higher Earth orbit. For beyond LEO platforms, biological specimens can be on board a lunar transit vehicle for short duration exposure to deep space environment, like those on the Artemis 1 and Artemis 2 missions. We are currently supporting 4 space biology science payloads on the Artemis 1 mission scheduled for November 2021. The biospecimens include Rhabdopsis seeds, fungi, yeast, and algae. 3 of these payloads are live cultures. For long-term, long-duration deep space exposure, we have to go to the gateway and the lunar surface. We already have all these space flight capabilities, opportunities, then why do we need alternative platforms? I just listed here some of the reasons, very well-known reasons. For example, lower cost, more opportunities, lower risk, lower uncertainty, more controlled environment, unlimited technologies and capabilities for research, more experiment replications, and increased sample size, which lead to more robust results. Because of all these limitations, deep space flight opportunities are actually the platforms for proof of concepts based on what we have already discovered, learned, and developed on Earth, and of course for exploring unknowns as well. Here are several well-accepted alternative flight capabilities, including sounding rockets, suborbital flights, parabolic flights, and tactical balloon flights, as well as ground simulation capabilities such as microgravity analogs and charged particle facilities to simulate space radiation. We conducted a literature review in PubMed for space life science research of the past 70 years. There are more than 15,000 articles. Apparently, what we have learned on how biological systems respond to space-relevant conditions is largely embedded in these studies, most of which are ground-based studies. Among these articles, we then focused more on those using microgravity simulators. This figure shows the articles reported simulated microgravity experiments on plants, mammalian cells, and microbes. We gave some in-depth analysis on those studies that paired simulated microgravity experiments with true microgravity platforms. as well as those combined simulated microgravity with other study variables relevant to deep space exploration, such as high carbon dioxide levels, ionizing radiation, and partial gravity states. The results demonstrated some very interesting trends for ground-based space-related life science research. Basically, we found a large, diversified but fragmented body of knowledge with several major knowledge gaps. For example, lack of integrated studies combining microgravity simulation research in parallel with other simulated or true microgravity platforms to identify true microgravity effects. Lack of systems biology approaches, such as those looking at the interactions among different organisms, species, and cell types using co-culture systems or 3D tissue technologies for investigating microgravity effects at the tissue level, host responses, or at even the ecosystem level. Lack of multi-generational studies, lack of the state-of-the-art molecular and imaging analysis approaches. These technologies have been advanced so dramatically over the past 10 years. Lack of research approaches targeting the impact of the deep space environment using combined conditions of simulated microgravity, partial gravity, and other space-related environmental risk factors such as ionizing radiation. These knowledge gaps exist not only in these simulated microgravity studies, but also in many other space-related life sciences research areas, using different platforms in microbiology, plant biology, human research, space radiation research, and more importantly, in health risk assessments. In this pitch, I also would like to give a brief overview of the microgravity simulation support facility at KSC. Our goals are to support SMD BPS investigators and space life sciences researchers conducting microgravity simulation research, to conduct data mining to integrate data from 70 years of simulated microgravity research, to improve the existing alternative platforms and develop new capabilities in order to functionally simulate the deep space environment and better enable deep space related biological research on the ground, and to develop strategies to continue the usage of alternative platforms and ground simulation capabilities for deep space exploration. Facility provides different types of microgravity simulation devices as well as required sensory support to the PI teams. We have multiple units for each type of simulators to allow the comparison of different conditions simultaneously, or to increase the sample size in order to enable live sample analysis right after the experiments. We provide some advanced instrumentations and as well as analysis software capabilities. Each project has its own challenges. So based on the science requirement, if necessary, we will work with the PI team to develop customized sample modules. So far, we have developed sample container holders for tubes, flasks, petri dishes, and chamber slides to be used on the simulators. We have also developed the dual light cycle petri plate module, a plant growth module, those for plant research, we have developed a live imaging microscope module. We are right now developing a perfusion system. Most of these developments can be 3D printed. We are working very hard now to wrap up some of these developments for a tech transfer package so that these customized modules can be available for the science community. We have also implemented several strategies to reduce the artifacts and to increase the reliability of simulation, such as to encourage the investigators using multiple microgravity research platforms with high fidelity controls to identify the true microgravity effects. To reduce vibrations and minimize unfavorable accelerations, to understand the localized physical nature around the specimens through fluid dynamic modeling, and to develop customized science modules based on each individual experimental requirement, as I mentioned earlier. For the next phase of our development, facility development, we would like to interact more with the science community to learn from your needs, learn about new needs, and collect your recommendations on how we can utilize the ground simulation capabilities for deep space exploration applications. So this is a chart to summarize the alternative flight platforms and ground simulation capabilities for microgravity research, radiation research, and possibly deep space related research, which combines altered gravity, radiation, and enclosed environment. There are several other platforms for microgravity research, such as drop towers and magnetic levitation systems. They are also useful. Each of these alternative platforms has its own pros and cons. Here are several key questions we need to think about for this decadal. How to continue using cost-effective ground research capabilities to address research gaps targeting deep space exploration. How to improve existing alternative platforms and develop new capabilities for deep space exploration. How to effectively simulate the deep space environment on Earth for life sciences research. How to integrate the large database of past space-related biological research to contribute to NASA's deep space exploration activities, and how to translate ground research findings for deep space application. This is very important for us. If you have any questions or comments, please contact us. Thank you so much.